Let me share something that can genuinely reshape the way you look at money if you're willing to let it sink in. The wealthiest people on the planet fall into a few categories. Around 75% are entrepreneurs, 15% are investors, 7% inherited wealth, and roughly 3% are athletes, entertainers, or artists. Notice what's missing. Virtually none of them became wealthy by relying only on a salary. So if you truly want to manage money like the top 1%, you first need to understand what those four groups have in common. Think about it. Entrepreneurs own companies. Investors own appreciating assets. Heirs own trusts. Top athletes and creators own rare, high-demand skills. The pattern is simple. If you don't own something, then you become the thing that's owned. That's the truth most people never realize. So how do you start building ownership instead of just surviving? You follow the 25-15-50-10 framework. I built this system so anyone, regardless of income, can handle money the way high net worth people do, because wealth has never been about how much you make, it's about how well you use what you make. I'm not some random creator repeating advice. I've applied this for decades, and that's how I built multi-millionaire status despite starting from nothing, with no degrees and no safety net. So let's break this down. The first 25% of your income goes toward growth. This is the portion that earns for you. And by growth, I'm not talking about vague mindset cliches. I mean buying real assets that increase in value. Most people get paid, pay their bills, then burn whatever's left on purchases they barely remember. That's why nearly everyone stays stuck owning nothing. And believe me, that's not accidental. The system is engineered to keep you comfortable for a week and broke by the end of the month, so you're always chasing the next paycheck. It's a modern version of economic captivity. Think about it. Slaves once worked daily with no pay but received food and shelter. Today, most people work daily, get paid, and then spend nearly everything on food and shelter. The only difference is the illusion of choice. Once you understand that, you can push back by taking that first 25% and directing it straight into assets, things that rise in value and eventually produce income. While you're working, those assets work quietly for you. Over time, they can even outgrow your salary. You might think you don't earn enough to invest, but if you wait, you'll pay a much higher price. Here's why. Meet Billy. He starts investing $200 a month at 20. Phil waits until 30 but invests $300 a month to catch up. Fast forward to age 60. Billy contributed $96,000. Phil contributed $108,000. So Phil should have more, right? Not when compound growth enters the picture. Assuming a long-term 10% annual return, the historical average of the S&P 500, Phil ends up with about $678,000. Billy ends up with over $1.26 million. Billy invested less money but made nearly $600,000 more simply because he started earlier. That's compound growth in action. That's why starting small now beats starting big later. So what should you actually invest in? Think of your options on a spectrum. On the lower risk end are index funds, ideal for beginners. You're not picking winners, just buying the market itself. No charts, no timing, just consistent growth. Then you've got real estate, either directly or through REITs if you don't have property money. Next are high-income skills, copywriting, coding, sales, editing skills that can pay off faster than any stock because no one can take them from you. After that, online businesses such as dropshipping or digital products. High potential, but you'll rack up failures before you hit something worthwhile. Then come individual stocks, the next Tesla temptations. Unless you know what you're doing, keep this small. And at the top are alternative assets, crypto, ETFs, gold, sneakers, collectibles. Yes, you can win big. Yes, you can crash big. Treat these like moonshots, not foundations. If you're starting today, build your base with index funds and valuable skills, then experiment with the rest later. Once you know what to invest in, you need to learn how to invest properly. Using the wrong account can quietly drain thousands through taxes. That's why the next step is opening tax-advantaged accounts. I'm not a financial advisor, just someone sharing what's worked, but these accounts legally protect your gains. If you're in the UK, a stocks and shares ISA is one of the best. You can invest up to £20,000 a year completely tax-free. Platforms like Trading 212 let you choose this account type directly. Workplace pensions are another win. Your employer match is essentially free money, and you don't get taxed on growth until withdrawal. If you're in the US, start with a Roth IRA. You invest after-tax money, but everything it earns grows tax-free and comes out tax-free in retirement. The annual limit is $7,000 if you're under 50. Then there's the 401k, which lets you invest pre-tax income and grow it tax-deferred. Take the employer match, never leave free money behind. Different countries offer different tax shelters, but the principle is the same: protect your returns legally. Opening the account isn't enough, though. Plenty of people deposit money but never invest it. The real step is actually buying assets. Automate a monthly transfer on payday so the money goes straight into your investment platform before you're tempted to spend it. Then choose index funds. Many people use a simple 3-fund portfolio: a stock index fund, an international stock index fund, and a bond fund for stability. Adjust the percentages based on your risk tolerance: more stocks for growth, more bonds as you age.
Once the automation is in place, your job becomes simple. Stop tinkering and focus on increasing your income, because wealth comes from contribution plus consistency, not guessing stocks. The next 15% of your income is for stability, your financial shock absorber. Most people think they have a money problem when they actually have a stability problem. One surprise expense can wipe everything out. Even worse, it can force you to sell investments at a loss. I learned this the hard way. I wasn't raised with money, so at 18, when I needed a car, I took out a loan and bought a VW Golf. For 3 months, I felt unstoppable until the engine blew. No emergency fund, no safety net, no plan. I had to borrow even more just to keep my job. That car didn't just break down, it broke my finances and pushed me backwards an entire year. If I'd had a stability fund, everything would have been different. Most people are one bad week away from chaos. So here's how you stay protected. Start by calculating your stability fund. List your true essentials: rent, food, utilities, transport, basic services. That total is your monthly baseline. Multiply it by 5. That's your target emergency fund. Yes, 5 months is conservative, but life rarely hits softly. Then store this fund properly. It must be easy to access, carry 0 risk, and still earn interest. Don't lock it away. Don't invest it. Put it in a high-yield savings account where it grows a little without risk. Finally, build it fast. Use a paycheck sweep. Move 15% immediately when you get paid. Use the replacement rule: if you use your emergency fund, refill it next paycheck. And use Roundup apps or cashback rewards to drip extra money into it. Once it's full, you can redirect new contributions back to your growth bucket or toward the final 10%. Your next 50% goes toward essentials, the spending that keeps you alive, not entertained. Even people earning $100,000 plus often live paycheck to paycheck because they want to look wealthy instead of building wealth. It's not about income, it's about control. At 20, I had cheap clothes, a basic watch, nothing impressive. My friend looked rich: designer clothes, flashy watch, always out. But behind the scenes, he had $43 left and overdue credit cards. I had over $1,000 invested and a solid stability fund because I'd learned from my early mistakes and kept my lifestyle low. Wealth isn't what people see, it's what they don't see. So let's sort out what your 50% should really include. Essentials are what keep you functioning: housing, groceries, utilities, transport, insurance, and basic clothing. Eating out, streaming services, unused gym memberships, random subscriptions, none of these qualify. Go through your statements and remove anything you don't actually use. Why cap essentials at 50%? Because most people believe they need 60 to 70% for needs when half of it is actually lifestyle creep. Locking essentials at 50% forces you to make intentional choices, not emotional ones. Then focus on the 2 biggest expenses: housing and transport. Negotiate your rent. Landlords prefer a reliable tenant over vacancy. If needed, house hack by renting a room or splitting costs. Keep housing under half of your essentials budget. For transport, ditch expensive car payments. Buy a used, reliable car or go car-free in walkable cities. The savings stack quickly when you remove insurance, maintenance, and fuel costs. Finally, use rules, not willpower. When you want to buy something, ask, is this an impulse? If yes, apply the 7-day rule. If you still want it later, ask, brand or value. If it's brand, skip it. If it's value, ask, will this genuinely improve my life? If not, let it go. After a few rounds, this becomes automatic. The last 10% of your income is for rewards, the part that keeps life enjoyable. Money isn't just for safety and growth. You deserve small pleasures along the way. Skipping them entirely makes the journey feel pointless. As you grow older, you realize it's often the little things that reset your mind and keep you motivated.